providing us electricity at very good rates and providing, you might say, federal welfare benefits to all kinds of businesses and all kinds of for-profit enterprises. We have them to thank also for public safety and for enforcing the dangers that come against you, my listener, from people whose tags may not be quite in order. People who may have a light out on the right rear of their sedan. Those may be driving in the evening with one bright out and not one light not working at all. These are grave dangers to the motoring public, to the members of the public involved in commerce, and to private travelers on the city's highways, whether they are in Ottawa, Red Bank, East Ridge, or beyond. There's no limit to the public safety interest of the Tennessee Valley Authority. Its job is to run coal-fired steam plants, such as the one my father, Bob Tulis, worked on in Paducah, Kentucky at the Shawnee Steam Plant, and all around an area that includes 7 states, Tennessee being right in the middle of this federal enclave, this special nation within a nation, if you will, that is the Tennessee Valley Authority. So not only does that utility work on paying down its billions of dollars of debt, and also to run nuclear plants according to Federal Regulatory Commission standards, where from which it receives a great deal of harassment, by the way. It is also involved in other areas that are perhaps outside its purview. Now, you may say that, well, it just doesn't seem right that TVA is involving itself in traffic enforcement. But let's see if we can make an argument for it. And maybe you can help me out here at 800-8949, 800-8949. That's 800-8949. Please give me a call. This is David Tulis, and we are at Nooga Radio. And the question is, how is it that, as Scott Fiedel, the spokesman, suggested to me, how is it that stopping a family in a sedan Saturday that had just crossed the dam is, in fact, a very important safety issue? Now, and the assumption is that if that woman who had bought that car, the tag apparently did not belong to that vehicle. The person who sold the car to this family perhaps had the tag from another vehicle or left it on, or there'd been some kind of unknown error or unknown mishap prior to the new owners taking custody of the car. But anyway, she was stopped for a tag that was out of order, and Officer Scott Stone noticed that there was a broken window in the car. I didn't see the broken window myself, though I was right upon the vehicle there at the traffic stop with my phone clicking away with my wonderful smartphone, which I'm blessed to have, and also my tape recorder going as I narrated what was happening. What I should have done was I should have streamed the whole thing live on Facebook. I think that's what I'll do the next time, is to make it go live on Facebook. So that way there's an instantaneous record of these important news events. Now, my name is David Tulis, and we're asking you the question at 800-8949, how is it that public safety is involved? Well, think about this. If the woman had been more careful to double check the state's interest in that car, since it was a car apparently that was going to be used in commerce as a common carrier, she would have said, well, I can't make this purchase of this car until you either take that tag off or other. And so minding the necessities of administration in Nashville would have shown her to be a better person. And if she were a better person, she would have probably thought about that. She would have said, well, I don't think I can take that tag, or you need to take that tag off and let me get my own at the county clerk's office over on Bonnie Oaks. And it would have shown her to be a better character. So we want people to have good character. And so the state is constantly minding the details that are of administrative nature, as if if you paid attention to them, it makes you a better person. In other words, it's a kind of secular salvation, if you will, if we are constantly minding the state's interests. And you could say, well, I'm like that too. I'm very much like that. Why my wife Jeanette complains about my wearing jackets all the time. Why do I always wear a jacket? Well, I want to wear a jacket in case I'm arrested. I've worn jackets for 20 years since I began inquiring into the state's lawful authority, and I've always done that because if I'm arrested, I want to look nice. Okay, I want to look nice. And you say, well, how can you live in fear like that? Well, I'm just practical. Okay, I'm just a practical person. I don't live in fear. Actually, I live in a great deal of confidence. But if I'm arrested for some false charge or on some cooked up incident, I want to be able for the mugshot to look nice. Okay, and I want to have a jacket. I feel, as I tell Russell, my news director, I feel naked without it here in the studio. So I always wear my jacket because I want to look proper, and I want to look proper for you, right? If you're arrested, it becomes a public encounter, and it enters into the legal record of the state. Your picture is flashed disparagingly across all the media platforms. Chattanooga.com would have my picture, and the CPD might have my picture. It would be available. Of course, if I had a Social Security number, it would be made available also in the arrest process. So I think, just by the way, that you should not give that number out because it will be in the public record. It will be discernible by anybody who goes to the court. Okay, someone just has to go to the court and look up your SSN on your paperwork. It's just there, and it can be done. So beware of exposing your corporate persona, your ID, if you will, your avatar to that bit of snooping. So I'm someone who I mind my P's and Q's, and even though I'm not in commerce, I drive according to the speed limit because I don't want to give an ostensible probable cause to be stopped. Okay, so in a way, you could say that I'm respecting the state, and I'm feeling the invasive claims of the state upon myself in traveling around and doing that, and it's for me, it's reflexive. I'm always careful to respect lawful authority, and even unlawfully asserted authority. I will respect that to a point, and not attempt to try and test the officer's patience. But if there's a right at issue, I'm certainly not going to waive it if God gives me courage, and that is part of the story here. Do we have courage to say no? And I think Americans, while they're a warlike and belligerent people, on the whole, ready to nuke everybody in the Mideast and let God sort them out, that kind of thing. Especially conservatives. They are the worst of all. I think conservatives are the worst of all. And liberals are disappointingly warlike. I must say there is no liberal peace wing in Chattanooga. It doesn't exist. It just, as far as I can tell, having been in the news business in Chattanooga for more than 25 years, there is not a peace movement here. Though Beth Foster may be an exception. There are some connected with Chattanooga Organized for Action Verbs that are peace oriented, but I think that they're not strongly united, and they don't have a great following, and that's because we're a warlike people, and our problem is we're conservatives. Okay, our problem is that we are conservatives, and so we favor bombings, we favor nukings, we favor bombing Hiroshima, we favor drones, we favor Trump's warlike attitude, even though I would say Trump should follow his non-interventionist theme more thoroughly, and disbelieve the platitudes of the neoconservatives, the warlike militant right who brought us 9/11, by the way, who are responsible for 9/11, who are responsible for demolishing 3 very fine pieces of architecture in New York in 2001. So those people brought us our warfare state of necessity, right? We have these things of necessity to maintain the claims of the nation state. The nation state has to have warfare to survive, and for anybody to believe in it or to feel that they need it. We have America. Yes, America is a wonderful thing, covered perhaps we could say best by National Geographic magazine. But then when we read the papers, we read the editorial pages, Clint Cooper on one side and Pam Stone on the other, we have a new mind, and that is that of imperial control and the exporting of everything from air conditioners to inflation, drone attacks, bomb attacks, and overthrowing foreign governments. We are perhaps the most notorious country on earth in the last century for overthrowing foreign governments. We've done that many, many times, and it's amazing how naive maybe even people like you are in considering how Russia may have sent emails about the American election, or Russia may have hacked a computer to have something to do with the American election, as if that were a shocking thing. That's why so much of the national news narrative is simply not news at all. And if you're like me, you can safely ignore it. And I don't feel like I'm losing much and not paying attention to that, because it's really when you look at the proportion of things, it is a mere detail. But the question we have before us with the Scott Stone arrest of this family, the stopping of this family, and they were let go, as Scott Fiedel, the spokesman, points out. They were let go, not even cited to court. The story is proportionality. How is it that the coal-burning utility, TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, can involve itself in securing its turbines, securing its dams, securing its many millions of tons of concrete piled up and down along the Tennessee and other rivers to maintain this system of dams and lakes, which, of course, was a federal eminent domain action of grand scale back in the 1930s, 1933 and onward. Eminent domain in the best form, right? The biggest and best form, throwing thousands and thousands of small farmers and sharecroppers and home people off their lands in the Great Depression. Now they're involving themselves, though they have great scale. They're involving themselves in tag reading tags on passing cars and trucks and sniffing out malefactors. Call me at 800-8949, 800-8949, and let's see if we can theorize how it is, just for a minute here, how it is that tag readers, LPR readers, in federal unmarked police interceptors that are disguised to be civilian cars, how is it that contributes to the safety of nuclear facilities, the safety of dams, the safety of electrical service stations and substations and major stations like the one next to the dam on the south shore? How those things are all secured, and the mission of TVA rendered safe or safer by the stopping of this family with that small child in the back. The tag on the car not quite matching the vehicle description in the state database, which the federal people have access to, right? They have access to the DOS database. In a larger sense, the problem is one that a writer named Publius Hulda, she's a Tennessee attorney, retired attorney, makes note of in an email to me. She says, of course, it's unconstitutional. But she's a purist, and I think sometimes we need to consider what the purists have to say. If you go to Nooganomics.com, you can see a chart she provides to me of how much money is in the Tennessee budget coming from the good people in Washington. In 2015, the last year that this Pew Trust graphic gives, just about 40% of the budget in Nashville comes from Washington. In 2010, it was 45%. There was an earlier peak. There was a big dip and an earlier peak of about 42% back in 2002. That is the Tennessee portion of budget given by the good people. So if we take money from the good people, then we are just, all we can do is put our hands up and say, okay, well, we got their money. We're glad that they're our partners. And that's what we have. We have a partnership. Tennessee and Washington, partners for welfare, partners for the good of the people, partners to make sure their lights run, partners to make sure that when they come home at night, they're safe, and that we can protect them en route to their wonderful homes where TVA power streams through the lines, through the redistribution system of EPB, making the light bulb go on, making the stove, when the mom comes home to cook the dinner, making that stove just warm so briskly to the 400 degrees to put that store-bought pizza in, and so she can be freed from preparing it and prepare the store-bought salad there in the plastic bag next to the sink. She can do all those things. The lights are burning, and in the garage, her husband is tinkering around with some tools, thinking about an auto repair. His 150-watt bulb, now illegal, of course, it burns brightly. It's shock resistant. It's a good bulb. He can crawl into that car with that bulb. It's bright as can be, and he can look under the deep recesses of that car and contemplate his repair, all thanks to TVA. And this is a benefit. And because TVA is doing that, is it disproportional for it to now say, well, that car had better have the right tag, or the man who sold the electricity the board, the federal board that sold the electricity, to make that tempered bulb shine under that car for the dad, that same party will now stop that man on the road and say, sir, you have offended us, and we're going to take you to court. We're going to cite you to court. Now, if you don't sign the line, we're going to arrest you. We're going to take you into our car. We're going to impound your car while you're away, and maybe even forfeit it. If we can find some trace of drugs in that car, we're going to bring it into civil asset forfeiture. When you're not looking, of course, we'll search that car top to bottom. If we find the remotest thing connecting that car to a crime, maybe a piece of pistol brass, maybe a bit of marijuana butt, right, from some earlier owner of that car, we're going to impound that car. And in the new program brought by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, we're going to put that car in the sharing program, the wonderful sharing program where the feds can seize cars and then share with you, the county government and the state government, the proceeds of the sale of that, the liquidation of that vehicle. And so we, the board of the board of the Tennessee Valley Authority, we're going to involve ourselves not just in keeping that light right there by your workbench, and then as you haul it under the car for an inspection of the brake pads that you're going to look at, we're going to make sure that that if that car goes on the road, well, we're here to make sure that other people are safe from you, because you know, if your tag is not in order, if you have maybe a bit too low tire pressure, maybe you have a light bulb out, maybe maybe your tag light. If your tag light is out, that's dangerous. That's dangerous to the public. And it's dangerous to the public because if the officer can't read that tag from a distance because the little light there, tag, that means he can't enforce the law. And if the officer cannot enforce the law, the TVA officer, if he cannot enforce the law against you and against everybody else, then everybody else on the street is adding a millimeter of additional risk to that person's life. And we are here, we TVA, we're here to reduce risk. We don't want there to be more risk in the lives of the motoring public. We are here to provide benefits and value for all of our citizens here in the Tennessee Valley. And so if you have a tag light that's out, we, with our fine officer, our sharp-eyed officer, whose eye is so sharp, even apart from the LPR, that he can open an oyster at 20 paces, that officer will stop you and he will say, sir, do you know that your light for your tag is out? And do you know that that poses a public safety threat under Title 55? And sir, do you know that I'm going to be gracious and kind to you? I'm just going to warn you about that. But sir, if you raise your voice against me, or if you ask if I have probable cause to stop you, or if you ask, do I have anything in the way of proving myself, I'm going to make life hard for you. I'm going to give you hell. And I'm going to take, and I might even lose my temper. I'll threaten you. I will tell you to lower all your windows so I can smell your breath, and I can make a claim that maybe I smell marijuana in your car. Because that's what happens. Officers are often doing that. And so to maintain public safety, we, the board of TVA, we are here to protect you, the listener of the David Tulis Show, you, the reader of Nooganomics.com, the most important website in Chattanooga that tells the real story, that tells the story that other media platforms won't tell. And we, the board, we want to secure everything. We have brought economic development big time to Chattanooga, to Hamilton County, and we want you to be thankful and we want you to be grateful. We want you to be aware that we have added billions of dollars of revenue to local economy. We are all about local economy. We, TVA, we love local economy. We care about local economy. We are here for you. We want prosperity to be generalized and free. We don't take money from Congress anymore like we used to. We're here. We pay our own way. Yes, we have a gigantic debt in the billions, but we'll pay that off. We'll pay that off, and because we care for you. We don't want you left paying the bill if we go under. No, we'll pay that bill as we go. We promise you, we are caring and good stewards of the land, of the water. We have police, we have patrols everywhere to ensure public safety. Why worry about the details? Why sweat about the details? Why worry about what David Tulis says? Who is David Tulis? He's just a crank. Even his wife says, I'm concerned you're becoming a crank. We heard about that. We heard about that through our intelligence services. And so we're concerned that you don't believe David Tulis. David Tulis is simply wrong. What does David Tulis know? David Tulis reads a lot of law. He writes a lot of law. But what does he really know? What does he really know? David Tulis? No, come on. Come on. We are TVA. We care for you. We add value to the economy. We provided 72,000 jobs. We created, by our miraculous power plants, 72,000 jobs in the Tennessee Valley. 7 states that are blessed by our ministry of electricity. We are here to help. We love you. We care for you. We are TVA. We just care so much about public safety. And there's nothing that we're not going to take care of. Just watch. Just watch. We have plans for a better and brighter future for the Tennessee Valley, for Chattanooga, for Hamilton County, even for Saudi Daisy, where David Tulis lives. Let's see if we can help him find something better to do. This is David Tulis.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports